Hello folks, as you can see today's video is the Churchill 1. I was hoping when the patch hit to make a video on the Puma first, but unfortunately when I went to play it, this happened. And I didn't really fancy sitting in the queue for that long. It's clearly a lot more popular than I anticipated, which is kind of understandable I suppose. It looks like a viable vehicle, you could have some good games in it. It's a bit more unique, you know, armoured cars, they're not a very common thing in the game yet. But instead I am stuck with this. Now, as usual, I am playing the first 10 games from stock in realistic battles. This time with post-commentary instead of live commentary. I think it works a bit better in some ways, but we'll see how it goes. If anyone does have a preference as to which they prefer, please feel free to drop a comment and let me know. Now, I really can't say this is the most positive video I've ever made. It was a real chore to try and get through these games, but I suppose it's on with the show regardless. Now, as you can see so far, it's slow. It's kind of lacks any punch to be really penning anything. I mean, I've been bouncing off a Puma there, now failing to do any damage to this martyr here. The gun is the same one that you get on the reserve tanks in the British tree. Anything past short range, you're really going to do no damage at all. I am on Sinai for this first game here. I just trying to get shots at anything. I don't have any parts or FPE yet, so I am very vulnerable if I take any damage, but I do fortunately get this Hawaii here. Now, I've already tried to shoot a Puma in the front a couple of times this game and bounced off, but this one, I'm behind, managed to actually get him in one shot there. The Puma just drove straight past because I'm that slow. But now I'm finding more and more targets. There's a little Panzer IV there, I managed to get a rear shot on it, didn't do any damage, and he's just too fast for me and drove away. Now I did have the option, and I probably should have taken it, of decapping the B point first. There are quite a few planes up. Don't really want to be getting bombed while I'm sitting on cap, and it would alert everyone to exactly where I was. So I chose, and I think in the end it was actually the wrong decision, to try and get rid of these tanks first. I can see there's more and more tanks coming for our spawn. I am behind them. There should be a good chance of me actually penning if I'm hitting them in the rear armour. But even if I pen, this gun is still going to take far too many shots to actually kill the target. And of course, every extra shot you take is a chance someone else will notice you. It keeps you from moving around. And most of the time, you just don't notice any of the tanks coming up because you're so focused on trying to kill one target. I also have the stock syndrome problem to make this worse, in that, particularly with small caliber and particularly with AP rounds, I find, but the 2-pounder especially seems to be incredibly inaccurate at longer ranges, and without the accuracy modules this makes it even worse. So you can see here I'm trying to just knock out the gunners on these two tanks and keep rotating between them to keep them locked down, but you can see how many shots it takes to try and actually get that penning hit where I want it, either because the shells aren't going on target, one there went very low without me moving the cursor, or it hits where you want it and simply doesn't cause enough damage to take out the crew in the one hit. Now unfortunately there, Panzer III hit my turret ring and that's my breach gone, so I'm basically out now. I have no parts, I can't repair it, and it's hard to take a shot with the last shot that I can possibly do. It didn't make it out. Sometimes it does when your breach is only slightly damaged. I had nothing to lose really. Yeah, I still have the whole howitzer, which unfortunately only 8mm pen HE. I tried to detract the Stug with it, but did nothing. Now, one of the few good features of this tank, its armour actually took quite a pounding, as you can see. That was a lot of shots I received. And now, moving on to the second game, this is Fields of Normandy, and I have driven initially to the B point, but there was nothing there, so I've progressed over to A to try and help clear this. Actually got 2 decent penning hits on the Stug there, but before I could finish him off, this lovely T80 just parked between me and him and took the kill. Yeah, got the Puma's driver. Can't quite see him through all these bushes, but the rate of fire helps in trying to finish it off quickly. And there's a Gepard here. Can't quite tell where he is through these bushes, so I'm just gonna go for the guess and manage to get him. There's artillery. I do need to move. There's still something else through here. Now, I should really have gone for this guy's driver first. He doesn't have a great chance of penning me frontally, I think. But he could have always hit my turret ring like the last game. I do have parts this time, so whether he hit me or not, I would have actually been able to do something about it. Probably not before I died, though. Now, coming around angled, he can't pen me on this angle. It's a bit too thick for him there, and knock him out. Now, still not capping, and the T80 just died. So there should be something on the west side here for to have seen the T80. Just about see him. There we go. But still not capping. Now, most cases I would find the last enemy hiding behind that house in front of me, but there is a Puma behind. Now, he gets through my crew with the first shot through the side turret there, but I'm just keeping the armor in a diamond formation, trying to make the side look like an appealing target. It's actually too thick on this armor, but he's going for it. It's not working. Now here's a mistake on my part. I should have been going for his engine to stop him driving. I knew I didn't want him to flank me, but I was trying to go for his driver to get get his mobility out and take out some of his crew in the same at the same time. I should have gone for his engine instead. It would have been easier. But unfortunately, in comes Ju-87 and knocks out my engine, which means I can no longer keep my turret rotation up with him. So we know how that's going to end, and I'll get on to the next game. This is now game 3. I'm on 38th parallel, and there's a lot of smoke around. People really making use of that today. I can't decide if people are using it tactically or just trying to spam it for the sake of, look at my new shell. But I got the first kill there, and I know there's something up behind this building. Now, see this little Sternpanzer first, but my tracks are just touching the edge of this rock, and it's causing my crosshair to jump quite a lot, making the shots go nowhere near where I wanted them to. And yeah, he gets away. It's one of those lovely little features. If you touch a rock, expect to not be able to hit anything. So there's another Sternpanzer. He missed me, thankfully, and I managed to take him out. Now, I have been trying to drive this tank at only top tier. I want to give a fair representation of the tank, obviously, when I make these videos, but I also want to show how I think to get the most out of the tank. Now, obviously all tanks work a bit better at top tier, but this tank has got such a weak gun. As I said before, it's the same gun you get on the reserve tanks, that you kind of have to be top tier to have any chance. Not only will everything... Well, your armor might hold up a little bit, but you start to meet more and more of those long 75s, which will punch straight through you. But also, even just one step above, the tanks start to get enough armor that your gun simply won't cause any damage. Now, with the amount of people driving the Puma at 2.7, I thought getting top tier would be really easy. Lots and lots and lots of people driving 2.7 tanks. I really figured that getting a 3.3 game would not be that difficult. Now in the end, I think I played about 60 games at BR 3.3, trying to get the games out for this video. And I probably got about 7 where I was top tier in the end. And resorted to trying to play it when I got a BR step up as well. It was just that horrible. It's permanently full up tiers, 4.3, 4.3, 4.0 occasionally. It's really, really punishing BR. So here's where the mistakes get made. I'm pushing forwards, I've taken the cap. I still know there's this guy up behind the building. So kill those 2 gepards, and it's up to 5 kills. But I potentially could have left this guy here. He's in the corner, he's not made any effort to try and leave it. The problem is that we're losing B, and I figure sooner or later I'm going to have to leave the C point and go and try hold one of the other caps. Now, I don't normally come to C at all. I don't particularly like this side of the map, but I didn't really fancy trying to climb all the hills and move back and forth between A and B in a tank this slow. I wanted to be more of a roadblock. So, knowing that I would have to go over there and not wanting to get shot in the back as I did so, I decided to try and push this guy. Now, even still could have gone alright had that first shot there done any meaningful damage, but as you saw, it just turned the crew yellow. The 2-pounder, really, I mean, solid shot in general, but this gun particularly just lacks any good damage. And he fires heat back and takes out my breach. So, long repair time begins, and he then takes out my tracks. And I'm essentially just a sitting duck now, just sit and wait. I can't fire back, I can't go anywhere, and he continues to break more and more modules. I've got another one showed up in my side as well. For some reason, it decides it wants to repair my track first, and not any of the other modules. Whereas, you know, tracks were the least important thing because I was repairing the other modules. And I still couldn't move, but there we go, tank out. Took a few shots, but ultimately I couldn't do anything while I was taking those shots, so it was pointless. Now on to game 4, back on fields of Normandy. Just knock out a little Panzer IIH quickly there. So, progressing up the field, and here comes a Panzer IV. Get his gunner first. And then his driver, he's obviously already taken a hit at some point. Now, with a fast firing gun like this, I would almost always usually go for engines, drive, stuff like that to stop them from getting away. But with this gun having such little reliable punch that I don't necessarily know if I will kill their crew before they get a shot on me. And knowing so far that most of my deaths have come from losing the breach, I've been trying to go for the gunners first, make sure they can't shoot back. I mean, I've got fantastic armor, but it doesn't seem to actually be helping me in the most cases. Against Panzer IIIs or stuff like that, it's fine, but against these Panzer IVs, it's just, it's really not doing anything. So, pushing up, get that Gepard there. I mean, I'm getting a reasonable number of kills per game, but here again we can see now when I come across this Panzer IV. I got his gunner with the first shot. Again, probably should have gone for the engine in the end there, but I got his gunner, he turns around, I get his driver, and his gunner comes back up. I try to shoot it, and nothing happens. Then, first hit takes out the breach, then the tracks, and you know, we've seen this all before in the previous games and know how this is going to go. Another one now hitting me in the side. Say, the armor is great against particular guns, but anything that fires heat, it seems to be pointless. So, game 5. See if the pattern continues. Now on to Ash River, and I'm trying to push towards the B point. So, knock out the gunner on this Panzer III. There's a Puma behind him, who I still can't reliably pen despite his thin armor, but only the one crew member per shot. I am slowly whittling down these gunners. As I said, the Panzer IIIs actually really struggle with this. But there goes my track. I'm getting shot from the side as well, and it's a Puma from over here. Now, they are incredibly good at getting hull down with Pumas, surprisingly. That turret is very, very small. But I'm now sitting with another 25-second repair time, hoping that he doesn't hit my turret ring again. He can't get through my side armor. If I get shot by any of the other guys, they won't be able to get through my angled front or side either. So it's just hoping I survive long enough for this repair. Tried to take a few shots back, hoping that he might drive in, but he'd moved slightly to the side and I couldn't hit him. So now moving up onto the bridge, just so these little walls hide me from his viewpoint. It does mean I'm slightly less angled against this Panther 3, but he's still going to struggle to pen me with the short 50 he's got there. So moving up, slowly whittling down his crew. His gunner's back again. And see the Puma. And there we go. So I'm just going to move up, try and get the B cap here. We've still got plenty of people alive for once. And just get hit by, I think that was artillery that took out my engine there. I never took another hit, so I'm assuming it was artillery. And it slightly oranged my engine, set me on fire. Now I can still move, but with a tank this slow, do I really want to be going slower than normal, especially when it comes to turning? So 50-second repair time, lovely. But I'm on the cap anyway, so get it fixed, move forwards here to shoot another F1, and yeah, straight through the front again. Lovely. Your armour may be thick, and especially if you angle it, but that doesn't matter because heat doesn't care. So now on to game 6. I'm on Abandoned Factory, and just managed to get that Puma's engine there. He has slid around the corner. There was quite a few tanks at sea when the game began, but being this slow by the time I arrived, all were dead. Right. Just get a shot, set him on fire, and he either J'd out or burnt out, one or the other. It was a very uneventful game, this one. I just never saw anything, and it was very small because the sheer number of people trying to play the Puma, there were just no players to be put on the Allied side. So, already on to game 7. So it's back onto Ash River, and I've decided to come for the A point because I didn't really want to slug my way across the bridge down there, potentially getting shot from up at the A point. Now, once more though, showing the complete lack of punch from this gun. Especially, the general solid shot issues of, I fired, my first shot there was just ever so slightly high and went straight over the gunner's head, doing no damage. I've got several tanks in front of me, and this is a Panther 4 F2. Now he's going to have no problem punching through even my thickest armour, so I need to get him out first. Managed to kill him, and now once more again I should probably have gone for the engines on these tanks to stop them getting out of my line of fire. I have a fast firing gun. The obviously best way to make use of it is to keep them still. But as I mentioned in the previous game, the amount of times I've died so far just by being heat spammed by these F1s, I want to go for the gunners first. And Panzerjäger takes out my gunner and my turret ring, so the only real option is to move forwards behind this cover. I do have support behind me. So I'm just going to sit here and repair, and the Sherman is coming in to take them on. Now what I wanted to do here was, while the Sherman was alive, is repair myself and then move around this left hand side of the rock, shoot them all in the back. As I said in the first game, it's the best chance I've got of penning. I might actually be able to kill them before they get their turrets on me. Unfortunately, it is muddy ground, and I am in a very slow tank. Trying to go up a hill and turn at the same time on this terrain just wasn't working. Sherman died. I'm now alone again on the cap. I can see this Tarsay, so I figured I'd go for him first. Both the F1s are facing me. They played that well though, they both came out at the same time. I couldn't shoot the side of the hull, which was what I wanted to be shooting. So knock out his track. I know he can shoot my track. I'll keep him pinned in. I know the other one is coming around my side. I was hoping I could kill this one first, but he had too many crew left. So get my tracks up, try to reverse out, and he gets my engine. So once more, that's me done for, the death by heat. As I say, I should have stopped them getting to the point. I should have shot them in the engines. It's just that fear of essentially losing my breach all over again and having a repeat of the previous games made me shoot for gunners instead. It was a bad decision I kept on making all through the day. So I'm now on game 8, I believe, on Karelia. Just coming up behind a few guys trying to cap the A point here. Got one Puma in the back. Their second Puma actually penned his front, but only yellowed his driver. No significant damage. And when I finally penned the Panzer III's turret there, it was just a moment before his gunner came back. You can see he started to turn the turret, but the hit cam showed the gunner being dead. So he dies to the M10 and start pushing forwards. Now, this is a bad choice here. Again, I made so many bad choices today. I think just out of pure frustration, I was getting so fed up of this tank and this BR. I just wanted it to be over. But here we go, 4 players on the cap. I was really worried about bombs. And there we are. There, he crashed though, so should be alright. Great, we can finish capping. Nope. Second one. Now that annoys me because that bomb was so far away from the tank. I know it's a big bomb, but so far away and I'm in a heavy tank, it shouldn't be almost rolling me over and wiping me out. But game 9, Volokolamsk. Now, as with the previous game on Karelia, this is actually a 3.7 game. I'm slightly up-tiered. I just got tired of trying to get those down-tier games, especially trying to get a down-tier game on a particular map that I feel the tank might work on. But 2 Pumas rushed this A point. We managed to knock them out, and one of them is coming back in a Stuka. There's no way we can stop them getting those capture points that will allow them to bring this plane. It is a cannon Stuka. I've got a chance I might be able to take the hits, so I'm just going to sit and try and pepper him out. If he had bombs, I would have been trying to run for it. Probably wouldn't have made it anyway, but I mean, I managed to get him, fortunately. And now begins the slow slog across the map. It is once more a small game. I think it's about 8v8. Again, just simply too many people trying to play Germany today, not enough allies in the queue. So, knock out this Marder, and now I try to pepper this F1 with shots, going for his engine this time. Starting to learn from that mistake. I'll say it's a mistake I never really make in any of the other low tier tanks, with particularly the American Stuarts, not German. I use those quite frequently, and I always go for the engines with the first shots, but it's just reliable damage with those guns. This gun, it just doesn't seem to do anything, and is a real problem for this tank, especially when it's pushed up to this BR. There is no way this gun is still functional at this level. I mean, the Matilda struggles with it as well, but even that is a lower BR than this. I mean, you can see I'm shooting the side of a flak panzer here, and again, not the best shot placement, coupled with inaccuracy, but it's just no damage on it. So I wanted the last game, and found a Panzer IIIM. No hope of penning him. So I start backing up. You see, most of these shots just say hit. Now I don't know whether that means it's penning and failing to cause enough spall to actually deal any damage, or if it's simply not penning. But we go, two tanks driving out. The F2 misses. Gotta get rid of him before he reloads. He's already low on crew though. Get the driver on the Panzer III. Get his gunner. Take him out. Still that Panzer IIIM looking at me. So, moving around here, see if I can maybe get a slight side shot. It's probably still going to be too angled for this gun to pen. And he's turned around and he's starting to drive away. So, go for his rear and bounce. He's just, yeah, just that weak. Now we've got some tanks coming around the end there. This is starting to be the point now where this game goes bad for us. Now normally I would say just stay with the C point, make sure they can't get to it, sit on it if need be, and that's how to win this map. It was only an 8v8 game, and we've got most of our team alive. In fact, I think everyone on our team is still alive at this point. And I mean, there's already about 6 minutes of footage cut out from before I got to this clip because just simply nothing turned up. So I chose to move forwards because otherwise I would be sitting there for the rest of the game without doing anything. I'm pushing up, I'm getting a few kills, coming to the back of this Panzer III now, and again just partial engine damage. Two shots eventually get it. And now trying to take out his crew. You can see again the inaccuracy on the gun there, especially with the stock syndrome. Now, if looking at the hit cam, half the time there doesn't even appear to be a shell continuing to the tank. It's just entirely spall, as if the shell has disintegrated. But that's Panzer III out. Now, something on the map got marked just to the north of me. And I'm assuming it's that, the Puma. Let's come out and knock out his gunner. He's a bit too close to the A13, he can't actually drive past him, but the A13 gets it. And we just lost everyone over the bridge. Now, again, it would have been more sensible to stay here at this point and try and prevent anything getting to the C point. It's one of those things, over pushing in the end is what I did wrong in this game. I always say not to do it on this map. It's just there's only so long you can sit there without getting really frustrated and wanting to actually join in the game. The enemy was so slow about attacking us here that they sort of drew us in. Still looks like we're going to win though. We've got a good ticket advantage. Driving up. Now, we've still got this A13 pushing towards the side of their spawn. The rest of the team is entirely in planes. I can see a tank there. Now, the enemy team has no planes up, so there is no point for us to have 3 guys in the air. Still, this one almost dead. And there we go, finished him off. Now again, none of these should really be capable of penning me frontally, especially not on an angle like this. Turret ring is the only way they're going to do anything. Now I would normally try to finish that Panzer III off, but I was getting shot in the side, and knowing the Panzer III was disabled, I wanted to pay more attention to the other one. But I should have finished the 3M sooner. Now I have one on either side, and this guy is flanking around. So I went for what seemed to be the most sensible move at the time, which was to push down onto the beach here. I mean, he can outmaneuver me. He's only got the short 50, so it's really difficult for him to pen my side. But if I at least go down onto the beach, I can no longer be shot in the back by this Panzer IIIM on the other side. Couldn't quite get the turret around there due to bouncing around on that rock. Missed a chance to kill him. And now against the dance. and an F2 is turning up. So again there, that should really have killed his gunner, instead of just yellowing it out. This gun, I mean I can't even say it's this BR, this gun is just bad in general. But at this BR, when things are starting to get thicker armour, it leaves you with less damage to be dealt. Panzer 3M's trying to come around the side, so I need to get back behind this rock. It's 1v3 though, and they can outmaneuver me. They can outshoot me. So, backing out. Just again, trying to keep them out of sight. Trying to avoid getting hit by the F2. Did get a shot there, but he bounced, fortunately. I kind of wish I'd shot that duck there, because after my Churchill dies, he is what results in the loss of the game, unfortunately. Killing off my only remaining quick tank to get to the cap. There we go, so got the 3J, he underestimated my reload a bit there and tried to push around behind me. Managed to get another crew member out. This F1 is now down 2. Just can't seem to finish him off though. He just will not pen a slightly angled Panzer 4. I wanted to try and push him while he was a bit crippled, but the Churchill, especially without the engine upgrades, just can't seem to climb this muddy hill. Not on an angle like that. So he doesn't, well not obviously, he doesn't seem like he's going to be coming back to me anytime. He seems to have abandoned it. So I climb up the slope, and here's my mistake. I should have turned and kept going to the right there, keeping on an angle. Instead I wanted to go down that road because I was expecting stuff to be coming from their spawn. That de-angled me and I got one shot by the F2 there. So that's the gameplay for the first 10 games. Let's have a quick look. How's it gone? There we are, 4 wins. And games. That last one there, I say, after I died, they took the C point. I tried to come back with a Cromwell, and I got shredded by the plane. That was all my fast tanks. I had no way to get back and recap. We did have 3 planes of our own in the air. They were just all on the airfield, doing nothing essentially. I don't think any of them even had ordnance to begin with. They were completely pointless. But so in the end, I managed 4 to 1 KD, which is pretty respectable. I don't know how. And honestly, if it had any of the gun, even with half the reload, if it had a better gun, that'd be fine. It would be a tank I think you could quite rely on. I mean, bear in mind this was only played at top tier, except for I think 3 games where I was in 3.7 instead. I was lucky enough to not meet any 3.7s. This gun, it's very, very poor pen. It's simply not capable. The 3.7 German tank is the Panzer 4G that has an 18mm hull. So even at point blank, without him angling, there is no way you're really going to be penning with these. But let's have a look at the armour. 101 turret front. If you angle, they can get through your side there. They can get through your turret front. So the long 75 is still going to be your biggest threat. A few little holes in it that allow this 50mm mantlet to be hit. Upper plate 88, lower plate 76. Now if you angle your hull, quite considerably angle it as well, then they should bounce off your side. They should bounce off your front. Just got a big track to get hit, unfortunately. So the long 75 is your main threat, and as should be your main threat. Apparently heat spam is also quite considerably effective. Rear armor is 50, so that's not bad if you angle. Again, some guns will really struggle with that. Ammo in the tracks, not great. I mean, you can just about, I think
those are the howitzer rounds, so if you ditch all of those, I never got ammo racked in this, I just, died by lack of being able to fight back effectively. Fuel is in the sides, that's a bit of a pain. Didn't manage to spade it out in the end, almost, just missed out on that last module. And said the gun is kind of pathetic. That is your biggest letdown. Armor-wise, it's actually very satisfying for this tier. It's a good payoff for the lack of speed and mobility you have. Yeah, you can take quite a beating. Just a shame you can't dish it out. If it had a quicker repair time, I think, again, that in itself might be enough. On a larger map, I would never expect to get too many kills because your gun just can't handle it. Ultimately, I think it either needs to be dropped to 3.0, where it might be a bit too strong armor-wise there, or what I think is probably the better solution is to give it another round. There is talk on the forums of an APDS or APCR round for this gun, which would bring its pen up a bit closer to about 100, enabling you to actually cause some damage reliably. Now, I don't expect you'll have learnt too much from the video there. My performance and my shot placement was far from my best. You might have learnt to not bother with this tank at its current situation, and I think that's probably wise. I'm certainly not going to be playing it anymore. I don't really see a point in it, which is a shame. But I hope you've enjoyed watching my pain, and I hope to see you again. So thank you for watching.